musicals are so big, and the process of writing them is just wrangling them closer and closer till you finally feel like they're in your hands. And I think and hope and feel confident that I feel like the show's in our hands now. And I think what we're trying to say about these characters is hopefully clear.
Yeah. I had the privilege of going to your opening night at the Colonial in Boston.
I can't believe you were there. It's so amazing.
That was such an amazing night because all of New York had come up there, and it was like, oh my gosh, this brand new musical that you had all put together.
Yeah.
So what did you learn from the Boston run when it closed? Like, I know you all went back into the rehearsal studio again. Tell me what happened. Like, what did you learn from the Boston run?
Oh my God, I don't know how anyone does a musical without going out of town first, because you can do so many workshops, and we did a number of workshops, but you need an audience because you just learn everything from the audience. And you also learn everything from seeing it obviously staged and fully realized with lights and all the design. So, I mean, we learned a lot about running time. It's a lot shorter than it was in Boston. We learned a lot about questions that audiences had about the character, and I think it's a complicated show, and it's a character that it isn't clean about. It isn't a clean question of do you like her, do you not like her. It's not about do you like or not like a character. It's about do you understand the culture that created this person she has a lot of chances to change in the show, and I think it's up to the audience to decide whether or not she actually changes. So it isn't an easy story to tell. It's a big, sprawling story about our culture at a particular moment in time, what it says about the American dream right now. They are big, complicated questions and big, complicated characters and real life characters. So we learned everything. Do you know what I mean? You need an audience to be able to ask people on their way out, what did you think of that moment? Yeah. What are you getting from that character? What did you care about? What's the audience laughing at? What are they gasping at? All of those questions that we were constantly rewriting when we were in Boston. So I know if people saw it on the first preview, it was a very different show than when they saw it opening night. And we were rehearsing during the day. Stephen and I were rewriting in the stairwell at the Colonial, running the pages to the printer, running them back in, handing them to the actors, going back out to the stairwell. So there was that process. And then we all sat together after Boston, read every single review, talked about all the smart people that we know and the people that had come up to see it, took time away from the show, and then rewrote. So there's 2 new songs at least. There's songs that are shorter. There might be songs that are longer. There's the book. There's things that have been tracked through the book in completely different ways. Like I said, musicals are so big, and the process of writing them is just wrangling them closer and closer till you finally feel like they're in your hands. And I think and hope and feel confident that I feel like the show's in our hands now. And I think what we're trying to say about these characters is hopefully clear. Yeah.
So what was the first book scene and musical number that you wrote, and is it still in the show?
So I wrote we outlined it together with Michael. The 3 of us sat on Zoom. It was during COVID. We met, I think, weekly to just talk through beat by beat the show. Once we had an outline that we all agreed on, I went away and wrote the whole musical as a play. And including the places where we had agreed were songs. I didn't write lyrics, but I went and wrote sort of monologues and gave him poems and images and things that I felt like were, inspirational, that could inspire a song, and passed him this. It was probably 300 pages, this massive document. And then the first song that he wrote is called Book of Random, and it's from the character of Jackie Siegel's daughter, Victoria, who kept an actual diary that she called her Book of Random. And so we really used verbatim text from her actual diary and he wrote this beautiful song. And then he invited me over to his apartment, and he has these little stools in front of his piano, and he played me and sang me the song, just the 2 of us, and it was, the 2 of us were sort of crying, and it was just so special to have him, who is a living legend, just be this vulnerable artist presenting material to a colleague, you know what I mean? And it is so vulnerable when you are writing a new show and both of you are out of your comfort zone and trying to figure this thing out together. And that bond where you're both trying to figure out this project that is out of your hands, and then over the course of many years you wrangle it more and more. That was sort of the first step in us doing that together. So yeah, it's really special.
It's also like unlocking it for both of you. You set it up and you sat there, oh my gosh, we're on the right path.
Exactly,
right?
Exactly. And you sort of see what the potential of it could be, and the song is so beautiful, and the song is still in the show, and was a sort of guiding post for us just in terms of tone and the heart that's actually at. It is a big show, it is funny, and it has social critique and social satire, but there are deep moments of, empathy and pathos and heart in this show too. So he has kept us looking for moments of that in the midst of this almost Brechtian, social commentary show about class and wealth and greed, and then there's also these smaller character moments. So that to start actually from a place of intimacy, I think was a great artistic impulse on his part, rather than to start from this bigger place, if that makes sense.
I mean, Jackie Siegel, you have Kristin Chenoweth, who has the audience in the palm of her hand from the second she enters that stage.
Yeah.
It's a big monster of a role for her.
Yeah.
Were you both concerned about that? Like, how much to give her, how much to pull back from that?
Well, when you have someone like Kristin that you're writing for from the very beginning, we knew we were writing, even if she didn't know she didn't know about the project when we started writing it, but we knew we were writing it for her. I've never seen an actor quite like her, where she comes out on stage, and I always joke with her that the audience is like sitting there with matches. Like they are ready to light the plate, set the whole place on fire. And I jokingly say she's like made of lighter fluid, and the audience is like sitting there with matches. And that's what it feels like. It's combustible when she comes out on stage. They want her, period. They want her to, they just want her. And so that's a huge responsibility, and you have to live up to that. And then you also get to play with that because she's so inherently likable. And if you have a character that maybe isn't likable in the entire show, or maybe makes decisions that Kristin Chenoweth or the audience members wouldn't make, that tension is actually really fun and interesting, where you have a character who the audience just wants to adore and love, and is used to seeing her play roles where she's lovable. Kristin's so inherently lovable. You actually get to toy with that in a really interesting way as the writer, because the character isn't necessarily lovable from start to finish, and that's what creating a complex character is all about. But in Kristin, you get that for free. So that's a really that's an exciting thing as a writer to play with.
Yeah. So previews begin on October 8th.
Yes.
You open November 9th. So right now, where are we in the process? Is it week 2 of rehearsals?
We are in week 2 of rehearsals. We staged the whole first act in week 1. We're now moving on to act 2. It's incredible to get to do the show with so many company members who did it in Boston, but not just in Boston, have been there from the beginning. We've sort of been collecting people along the way over the last 5 years of developing the show. So it's just it's like writing for an old school ensemble, where you get who the players are and what their strengths are. And I love writing for actors. That's my thing that I like to do, to know who I'm writing for and to tailor it to them. So I do that, I do that for the ensemble members as well. And so it really is fun to just have an idea and throw it to the actors. And we have such a shorthand. It's really incredible. And obviously the same goes for the choreographers and Michael, who's done it before. And it's a really and Michael Arden's amazing at this, but he just creates this really loving and supportive room. And when you work on a show, I've been thinking about this a lot, when you work on a show with the same people over 5 years, half a decade, you just see people's lives change, and you go away and there've been heartbreaks and deaths in the family and births, and Michael's won a Tony, and you go away and you have these triumphs and sadness in your life, and then you keep coming back and working on the same show, and you just, I don't know, I have found that ensemble mentality that Michael is really great at fostering, so moving and exciting and collaborative, and I just love everyone in the show. It's a really great room. Yeah. We're just also excited. We want New York to come and see the show. And I hope the show is going to spark real conversations about where we are at as a country and as a culture. And that's what I'm most excited about, is to have just start having the conversations with this amazing city where theater is. Yeah.